What up, though, y'all? How y'all living? At this point, I'm starting to think that everybody in the game is weirdos, or the people that make it to a certain point at least. And it for sure seems like everybody is cool with all of this weirdo activity as long as they're getting paid. But as you may have guessed it, as you may have guessed it, we got another one. This time it ain't a black dude. It is somebody that identifies as black when it suits them, though. But let's check this out, man.
Okay, so there was performance-based humiliation and one specific incident in Miami. After a show, Fat Joe allegedly brought a woman to his hotel suite. He ordered Terrence to sleep with her in front of a group with
the story started out good. It went bad fast.
Bathroom door open, shouting, "Get your D hard, Terrence," or they're calling him TA. Members of the crew, including Pistol Pete and JB, reportedly watched and laughed. One joke, "Yo, Joe, I'm not about to stand here and watch this ninja's D." Terrence.
Maybe he was telling the truth. I'd have got the heck out of there. I don't know why somebody would have stood around while these activities was popping off, but let's continue.
Allegedly did not want to participate, but he felt he had no choice. Also, there was surveillance and direction. These special performances were sometimes filmed, sometimes directed. The environment was described as under surveillance. There were security cameras, management staff. They even said Rock Nation's extended team were allegedly aware.
How do he know that Rock Nation was aware? Rock Nation getting dragged off into everything, but like some of these guys.
No, I'm not about to stand here and watch this ninjas have orchestrated who TA would sleep with, watch, and sometimes gave verbal instructions. Is this not sounding like Diddy and Cassie? And use the presence of others to enforce psychological shame. Now,
so you telling me, now TA never said this in none of his interviews. You telling me he was forced to have sex with women in front of Fat Joe for Fat Joe's enjoyment? And he dealt with that?
He did say there was retaliation for refusal. On at least one occasion, Terrence refused to comply with the coerced sex act. In response, Fat Joe canceled his flight, left him stranded overseas, and cut off access to money or shelter, making him fully dependent on Joe's approval to survive. And there was also creepy language of ownership. He alleges that Joe made it clear that his bodies and his actions were not his own. The expectation was be sexually available on command, never say no, or you're out. And this wasn't about pleasure. It was about enforcing loyalty through humiliation.
Now look here, man. If you a man doing the job and you not getting paid for that job, then I think you need to quit that job. Because ain't no way you've been working on this job for years and it come down to a situation like that and you can't afford to get your way home. That means you shouldn't have been there in the first place. And if you doing all of these kind of acts and you're not being financially compensated, then what does that say about you?
Now listen, these actions are framed in the lawsuit as textbook sex trafficking under coercion, especially the forced performance under threat, inability to leave due to financial and physical control, repetition over time. He claimed over 4,000 acts he was forced to perform, and the occurrence across state lines intentional. You guys, he also claimed about lining him up. They said that when he started to complain, Fat Joe attempted a violence or a hint. Now let's talk about the retaliation attempt after he began asserting his rights publicly. Now there's
TA been on the internet for a minute talking about ghostwriting songs and being a hype man that didn't get paid. I don't know how true that is, but TA got some degree of respect around studios and other people that may be artists, like they're familiar with them, not just Cuban Link. With that being said, I don't know what to say about this. You a grown ass man, bro. I don't think this cool that it happened to you if that ain't what you wanted, but you a grown ass man. You telling me Fat Joe could beat your ass? That's kind of hard for me to believe. Y'all taking trips and flying planes. You telling me you can't walk out the exit? Like, I'm lost here.
There's supposedly an audio recording of the setup. The lawsuit includes a recorded call between Pistol Pete, Fat Joe's enforcer, and a man named Percy, a mutual contact of both Pete and Terrence. Here was the plan. Pete allegedly asked Percy to get in touch with TA and Terrence and convince him of the meetup, so the Enterprise could deal with them, interpreted as a violent ambush. These are the key quotes from the audio. Yo, he can't come around the hood. He needs to be dealt with accordingly. My hood is going to bring him to me like they always done. Ninja's going to bring it right to where you at. He implies that TA violated Joe by speaking out, and retaliation was expected. And when Percy refused to help line TA up, Pete replied, don't ever tell me bring a ninja to you. I'm never doing that. Of course, lining up, I don't know. I guess that speak for putting a hit out on someone. So, was there a real attempt? Well,
right now, from my understanding, this is just a lawsuit. But all you need is if it's a RICO, then all you need in this situation is an overt act. Which basically the overt act would be you attempting to get this third party to put y'all together. And then going on to exemplify what you would do when it happened, recorded, of course. Man, this is all sad. You can't. Well, a lot of these people don't deserve no loyalty, but we all got to be smart out here. If you're not giving no loyalty, don't expect none. And when it comes to getting into it with people, the conversation about what you gonna do is pretty much irrelevant because we all see where that go. And when it come down to you being upset and venting, you better watch it because it could get you a RICO case. If Fat Joe was doing all of this, man, to me that sound like they personal business because it don't sound like a rape to me. But maybe it was. We out. Oh man, I bet Fat Joe really wish he could rewind the time now. Gee Willikers, Batman. Everybody's going down. You get a RICO. You get a RICO. You get a lawsuit. You get a lawsuit. Man.